Paul Hamilton joins us from Philadelphia. Sabres were in Philly last night to start their road trip and lost to the Flyers. Paul, the 3 goals in 59 seconds, that usually happens against the other team from Pennsylvania. That happens every time they play in Pittsburgh. But 3 goals in 59 seconds against the Flyers was the Sabres' undoing in a game that, I don't know, every time we lose we have to ask how much we should freak out about it, how big of a deal it was. But you were pretty strong in your criticism of the Sabres' best players last night in their loss to Philadelphia.
Yeah, they just weren't good. And to start off with, they were. I mean, they had a quick power play right off the bat. I thought they worked hard on the power play. They deserved the goal. They won battles. Doan made a great pass to Zucker in front, who had shaken his man. And you get off to the 1-0 lead. 30 seconds later, Philadelphia takes another penalty. You're like, well, okay, cool. Now you have an opportunity to get on the power play again, which you just executed very well. Have an opportunity to maybe score another goal quickly and get yourself up 2-0 on the road. But instead, Tage Thompson takes just a lazy penalty, and you lose your power play, and the roof falls in from that point forward. I mean, then Timmins takes a cross-checking penalty, which was a silly penalty, puts you down 5-on-3 for 44 seconds. Now, Philadelphia doesn't score on that, but they score on the back end on the 5-on-4. And, now the game's tied. And, Alex Tuch has a chance. It was an excellent penalty killer, but he has a chance to get rid of the puck. Can't get it out. And the next thing you know, it's in your net. So we've already talked about 2 of your, top players already who are just make plays that they don't normally make. And it's on. And then on that Konecny goal, goaltender interference, I thought it was goaltender interference. And Ellis immediately popped up and thought, he had been interfered with. And this is where I think Lindy Ruff made a horrible decision, because we all know, who knows what goaltender interference is.
Yeah, right.
If you compare it to the Benson goaltender interference during the homestand, this was worse than that. And the Benson was charged with goaltender interference. But if you're Lindy Ruff and this avalanche is happening to you, I don't think it was worth taking the chance of having it go against you and giving Philadelphia a 3rd consecutive power play, because the building's already rolling. I don't know if you've ever seen a game in that building, but it's wild once it gets going. So the building's rocking. The Flyers are rocking. Everything's going their way. I just think it was not a good decision at all, because you just fed the Flyers again because it didn't go the Sabres' way, and now there you are. You got to go try to kill another penalty, and for the first time all year, you've given up 2 power play goals in a game, and you actually gave up 2 power play goals within about 40 seconds. And, and that, I think, maybe played in part in Ruff's decision also, that, he does have a good penalty kill. So if it doesn't go his way, you just go kill the penalty and move on. But it was just that building was just rolling, and the Flyers were excited, and you just gave them another chance. And then the power play's over, and now the 3rd goal's in your net. There's transition coming the other way, and Matthias Samuelsson, without question, has been their best defenseman all year. He had a rough game. He was on the ice for 4 goals. 2 of them, he basically was standing there with the guy scoring the goal and not covering him. But one bad game, to me, doesn't shoot Samuelson's season. But there's another one that you've been counting on all year that didn't come through for you as this avalanche is happening on you. But I just felt that was the key to the game right there. Lindy Ruff going through with challenging that, knowing that you don't know what this league is going to do from one challenge to the next, and just feeding the Flyers transition and momentum and the speed they were showing. And next thing you know, 3 goals in 59 seconds, and they did not react well to that. They absolutely never recovered from that.
You mentioned the penalty Tage took, Paul. How about on the third goal? Because even after the challenge in the second power play goal, like it's 2-1, and you're not even 10 minutes into the game yet. Like if you fight back there, you got a lot of time left, and it's a 1-goal hockey game. But when you get that third one, and you're talking about how the building was buzzing, you get a third one that quickly, and what happens? It goes off Tage, and then he really doesn't fight back into the play. Like, did you have a big problem with him on that one?
So did he. He stood up to it. I admire Tage Thompson. He never hides. He is very honest. He stood up to that was a horrible play. Yes, Benson's pass did hit him in the seat of the pants, but he went for a nice leisurely skate, kind of did a circle to come back and didn't really, come back real hard. And probably, he was frustrated with what was taking place and then frustrated with the pass. But you can't be. You can't let that frustration get into the game. And that's exactly what he said. He goes, you can't do it. You can't. He goes, we were frustrated. We let it get to us. He goes, I can't do that. He goes, we can't do that. He goes, not only do I got to be better on plays like that, he goes, when I sense that these things are happening, he goes, I have to be better too, and whether it's in the locker room or on the bench. He goes, I have to help us get through that. And he goes, I need to do a better job at that, which I didn't do. So, he's a guy, he is a stand-up guy, stood up there and said that was unacceptable effort, and that has to be better. And so, but yes, again, it was just another example of one of your key players. And we haven't even gotten to Dahlin, who let his frustration get a hold of him, and he pile drives Zegras into the wall from the back. He gets kicked out of the game, could get a suspension. If I were in the NHL, he would get a suspension, or if I was doing it. At one game, I wouldn't get carried away with it, but that's the hit that you're trying to take out of the game. And so it was just another. And Thompson also was disgusted with the power play. Buffalo had 5 more power plays after they scored that goal, where they executed the power play very well. And then they looked like they'd never been on a power play before on the next 5. And you talk about opportunities to get back into the game. Despite what Philadelphia had done to you, you have 5 power plays after that. You take advantage of 1 or 2 of them, you're right back in the hockey game.
On Thompson, by the way, Paul, are you attributing any of, because he also hasn't scored in, I think it's 5 games now, do you attribute any of this to him playing on the wing as opposed to center?
Well, I can tell you this. He has scored 44 goals on the wing last year. He has played wing very well before. All he said was he thinks, playing playing at center he felt more comfortable. He kind of felt at home this year when he was put back there. But you're not going to put Norris on the wing, and he wants the two of them to play together. So he figured it out last year when he scored 44 goals, and nobody was saying a thing about him playing the wing. And his analytic numbers, according to Lindy Ruff, are much better when he plays the wing than when he plays at center. So when Norris came back, they moved him over there.
One thing I brought up, Paul, is maybe if you get him at center, he said he feels more comfortable. Is it easier to keep him engaged? And I guess if Lindy's going to want the two of them together, then it's a non-starter. But is the idea of splitting them up crazy? I mean, Norris has been here for a grand total of 6 games now. Maybe he wants to give it a really longer, much longer look.
We're only 2 games into Norris coming back and playing. So I don't think we can say, well, this isn't going to work.
Well, it's not even that it doesn't work. The idea that if they split it, could they get 2 lines that work and 2 guys that can play center really well?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm just saying
I'm standing in the train terminal here.
It's not that it doesn't work. It's just, could it work differently? Could Norris work with 2 other wingers and Tage go? I'm not to say like he's a second line center, but whatever. Like he says he feels comfortable at center. He's been very good at center with guys that are already on this team. Like, build a line for Norris and build a line for Tage.
Yeah, and that's when I sit here and people think I'm crazy when I just say they don't number lines. Well, if you do have both of them at center, who's your number one line, who's your number two line. You don't have one. They're like interchangeable. I mean, they both. If you do that, you have two number one centers. So it's not like the first line, second line, or whatever. It's basically who's going that night is probably going to play a little bit more than the other line. So I have zero problem with Tage Thompson being on the wing right now. I really don't. And as they said, they've only played together for 2 games.
Right.
So I definitely would not junk it now yet.
Paul Hamilton, his appearance brought to you by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this. Thanks, Paul.
No problem, guys. Take care.
Next up for the Sabres, a lengthy Western Conference and West Coast trip. Sabres After Dark makes its reappearance.